recording. Perfect. Cool. I'll admit. We'll give maybe 3 more minutes for everyone to join. And if everyone can just mute your mic while you come in, that would be great. That's recording. Perfect. Oh, so we have quite a few people. Right. Wow. Major echo. Don't know. I think it should be fine now. Hopefully you can all hear us fine. But if not, let us know. Cool. For those who have just joined us, just a reminder to put your name, where you come from in the chat, and also tell us what type of Legos you have. Have you used Lego? Any of the robotic Legos you have used in the past? Do let us know and put that in the chat. Also, this session is being recorded, so if you don't want to be on the recording, we would request you to keep your cameras off, but feel free to unmute or put your questions in the chat. So that's around 60 people. I think we can start. Before passing over to John, Sarah and Wendy, I'll give a quick intro about myself and Digital Xtra, and then move over to do some fun Lego stuff. So my name is Maha Abhishek. I'm the Communities and Grants Officer at Digital Xtra Fund. Today I'm also joined by Craig Brown, who is somewhere with his camera off, the Partnerships and Development Manager, also from Digital Xtra. We have Sarah and Sarah Pinkney from from Raising Robots, who are Lego Education certified trainers, and also Wendy Findlay, who's the Program Manager of STEM from ESP. So Sarah and John will be doing some sort of Lego hands-on activity, also tell us about how Lego can be used for play, and Wendy will be talking about the first Lego League tournaments, which will be running across Scotland. So please feel free to put your questions and queries in the chat, and we will try to answer them as and when they come, or we will be taking them at the end as well. I've also mentioned about the recording of this session, so feel free to unmute and ask if you want to. So Digital Xtra Fund, we are a Scottish charity, and our core objective is to inspire young people to learn technological skills through high quality, exciting extracurricular activities. So overall, we want to increase the number of young people learning digital skills across Scotland, regardless of their gender, background, and where they live. So we deliver an annual grant cycle, which we will be announcing about it in January. So that's our 8th round of grant awards, and you can apply any grants for up to £5,000, which has to be delivered over the next academic year. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter, sign up to our newsletter if you want to know more about the fund, which will be opening soon. We are also delivering an information session on Wednesday, 23rd of November, in collaboration with Education Scotland. So if you want to know more about Digital Xtra Fund, feel free to join us, and I'll share the link in the chat in a minute. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Sarah and John.
Hello, everyone. It's really great to be here. I am really excited. We've got all of these people online. I've kind of been introduced. I'll just give a little bit of detail. I do work for Raising Robots. I am a Lego certified trainer, and I've been doing that for a fair few years. But my background is teaching. I taught for a long time. I loved the process of teaching, and I still get to work with children on a weekly basis. And I want to talk to you today about the power of play. But before I do that, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Pinkney. I also work with Raising Robots, and I'm also a teacher. I've just left the classroom after 24 years of teaching full-time English, and I've loved it. But I'm now a certified Lego trainer with John, and we're running the company, and love still working with kids in classrooms all around the UK, including the Shetlands, where we were last month, having an amazing time.
So that's a little bit about us. At the heart of what we're going to talk about is the idea of play, and indeed the power of play. Lego is associated with Lego bricks, and I've got some Lego bricks here. These are Lego Duplo bricks, and these are what we call Lego system bricks. And just in case you didn't know, the two things do go together. A Lego Duplo brick is 8 times the size of a standard Lego system brick, and you can build great things with them. And in fact, you can build great things with Lego bricks or whatever you've got in front of you. And what I'm going to ask of you in the next minute is I want you to build something, or I want you to doodle something or create something that gives a little insight into the sort of day you've had. So I want you to spend 60 seconds creating something that you can hold up on camera, and I can only see one camera person at the moment, so that puts them, well, it puts Anne under pressure, because I can see you, Anne, to build something. So 60 seconds starts now, and build something that represents the sort of day you've had. Miss Nicholson swept onto the screen and then left. Look at that. Oh, lots of I'm already getting an insight into Miss Nicholson's day. I like it. Mrs. Urquhart, that looks absolutely fantastic what you're creating, and you've still got 17 seconds remaining. Mrs. Sprout, look at that. I think that might have been one she prepared earlier, but it looks absolutely fantastic. Please feel free to jump on the screen with what you've built, and then I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your build as we enter the last few seconds. If you haven't got a camera, I know that some people are putting that in the chat. Maybe you can tell us the sort of thing you would have built to represent your day. But it's lovely to see. Oh, that's fantastic. People are turning their cameras on, which is, I think Becky's used all the Lego in the school to represent something. And there we go. Great stuff. So we'll just spend a couple of minutes, and we'll start with Miss Nicholson. It was spectacular. So can you tell us a little bit about your Lego build? You're just muted at the moment. You're doing this with the art of mind. This is a great way of remaining playful. Are we to presume that you've not had the best of days? Yeah. Was at times it's a little bit frustrating?
Too many things to do.
But are you looking forward to getting home and moving away from your problems? I read that into your model. Thank you for building so well. Anne, have you got a microphone?
I have. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can.
Yes.
Oh, we might have two Annes. We've got two. We'll have Anne Keegan first. Anne, tell us a little bit about your model. And you've muted yourself. You came and you went.
I'm here.
Great.
Okay. This is mine. We don't have a lot of Lego in our school. It's something I'm hoping to promote and maybe perhaps pursue and get some more Lego in. But basically, my model is me climbing the stairs to the end of the day and then jumping off.
It's quite a long way down, is it?
Well, there's a pool at the end.
I like it. It sounds a nice structure to your day, and thank you for that. And I think we had another Anne.
Is it myself? Yes.
Hi, it is.
I think I have had a good day, but some bigger chunks of learning, some smaller steps of learning, a bit of repetition. But I think a good day in all. This Lego actually belonged to my son. He went on to do engineering, and I think Lego was certainly, you know, the first kind of building blocks as such, you know, that actually the construction part I think is great.
I love it. I love the fact that you relate it to somebody who's actually found an experience of playful learning that's actually taken them on into a career. I think that's a really important thing. So thank you for that. And Mrs. Sproats, you've got a beautiful looking creation.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I was out of class today, so I kind of started my to-do list while we had a parents' workshop. So then I've got a few kind of diversions through the day, just a few things, but I was actually working with one of my, just for some kind of downtime with one of my pupils one-to-one with Lego in the afternoon. So it was lovely just observing her with the Lego. So we use it pretty much, we have it available in the class all the time in P1. So lots of amazing creations created every day.
I love the fact that you're having creative activities with young people, and I love the fact that you're holding your proud creative creation in front of us. Absolutely beautiful. Great stuff. And we're recording this, so Lego will probably see it and put it in the shop by Christmas. So you might make some money off the back of that. Great stuff. Mrs. Keller's on camera as well. Have you made a little creation?
I've just made, well, it's supposed to be the letter G for I've had a good day.
I love it.
Our children have lots of different Lego, Duplo, the system stuff, and they just absolutely love it.
I love it.
From the boys to the girls, it's universal. Yeah. Very therapeutic.
Yeah, and that's a really beautiful lead into the sorts of things. Well, one of the great challenges is that when you have a lot of people and people build, is that I feel really bad about not getting to everyone so they can showcase their Lego. It's such an important part of learning to showcase things. So thank you for the people that did that. I did have my little Lego build. I've kind of been a little bit all over the place today. My head's spinning around. I made this with just little pieces that I had on my table, and it's a really nice process. People have talked about how therapeutic it is, and I think that's one of the things that's really started to reinvigorate people's thoughts on play. And I really want to take with you that word play. I'm going to put a PowerPoint up briefly in a minute, but one of the things I'd ask everybody to think about is that when somebody says the word play to you, what word do you associate with it? And I'd ask you to put those in the chat. I'm going to give you 30-40 seconds to do that. Just taking the word play, what's your main association with that? I love it. I'm going to read them out. Fun, 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 choice. Oh, somebody's gone to it. Interactive and fun. Learning creativity. Learning, exploring. Having fun with friends. I really like that one. Engagement. Life. I like it. No rules. Wow, Craig. Let's all pop round to Craig's. There's no rules. Sounds an amazing place to be. Teamwork. No boundaries. Ah, amazing. Lots of learning. Early learning. Yeah, where it all starts. It's endless. I really like that word. It's endless. It's using your imagination. It's investigating. Wow. When you say one word to people and you get so many responses, but they're all responses that when you read them back, they mean something to you. And for me, they're all words that I naturally associate with my childhood. And there's a real deep strength to those words. You know, I don't remember boundaries necessarily as a child. I remember going off to do things. There didn't seem to be as many rules when I was a child. I could explore things. I could be more creative. I could take risks as a child. And yet here we are as adults, and we're all coming up with those words. So they've all stayed part of us. And I just want to show you a little PowerPoint slide briefly. I will just pop it up on the screen. I'll share this with you. And there were a few slides just about who's here today, because we've got lots of people, and we've done Build Your Day, and we've got why play. Well, first of all, what is play? And we're going to talk about why we play in a moment. But this is the definition you'll find of play on Google. It's to engage in activity for enjoyment and recreation rather than a serious or practical purpose. And you can probably imagine, as somebody that spends a lot of time in playful situations, where particularly with young people, that's quite the opposite of how I would define play. Lego produce a report called the Play Well report, and in Danish, leg godt means play well, and if you take the first two letters of each, you will see that it makes up the word Lego, just in case you were wondering where the word Lego came from. And the new Play Well report points out that although play is under threat, often discarded by people as an idea and concept in learning, it still is seen by parents as being a key thing in developing the lifelong learning skills in young people, such as creativity and communication and problem solving. I highlighted confidence in terms of that. One of the reasons that I love using Lego with young people is that I see their confidence going up. And the reason it goes up is that the nice thing about Lego bricks is you can simply put them together. You can get rid of your blank canvas straight away, and you can express your ideas, much in the same way that when you made your little builds, it gave you something to talk about, and you could then express your ideas. Well-being is now seen in terms of play as being a key part of play amongst 95% of parents, and well-being and play and children has obviously had a lot of attention over the last few months as we came out of a pandemic. These are Lego's characteristics of play: joyful, meaningful, actively engaging, iterative, socially interactive. And actually thinking about the words you came up with there, you know, socially interactive, being with friends, actively engaging, having fun, being joyful, are all really important things. And as a child, they were important to me, and as an adult, they're important to me. And I guess that's probably true of you as well. And sometimes people say to me, well, you work with children and you work with adults. What's the difference? I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. Lego have an approach to learning based on these 5 approaches: physical, creative, social, emotional, and cognitive. And as educators, cognitive, physical, creative, social, emotional, yeah, we're all familiar with them. But outside of education, it seems to have become a bit of a shock to people that the education system plays a role in terms of the emotional and social development of children. As educators, it's of no surprise. When the pandemic hit, that was clearly going to be an issue. And we're now seeing, and people have got raised awareness of the fact that we need to think about children in both in terms of their emotional and social skills. So all of these things go into Lego activities, which we're going to talk about in a moment. I put that slide up. That was a workshop I did with 19-year-olds down in London. And I have to say, they didn't arrive particularly playful. But after a while, they became playful. Why? Because I told them that it was all right to play. And there they are, they're building towers out of Duplo bricks and testing their scientific knowledge to get the tallest tower. And one of them agreed to have some silver foil put on his head so he could concentrate on the tower to make sure it stayed upright. There was a real change in mindset. There was a real change in terms of their well-being. So this idea that as children get older, they don't want to play, I'd argue and say, actually, we all want to play. We just sometimes need that license to play. Playful gives us deep learning experiences. I think about some of the things that I've learned in my life. They come out of play. When I drive my car, I don't accelerate on a bend, not out of sitting in a physics lesson, but playing Scalextrics as a kid and not pressing the button when I was on a corner. There's a great enthusiasm through play. There's great inclusivity in terms of play. And I'd ask this question. This I took last week. And on the left is the room full of children who were studying at school, and they were doing computing and science. And on the right are the sixth formers in a school in the same place. And you'll notice on the left, we've gone from a 50-50 gender split. And then on the right, we've gone to 90 and 10. And there is only a space of a few years. So something happens. And it's about the engagement in STEM, where I think play plays a really important role. And Leo have, hopefully you're hearing the sound on this. I always check with people, because sometimes on our little video screen, we don't get the sound. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're getting sound? You are, fantastic.
Preparing all students for an ever-changing world shaped by technology requires a new set of skills for both students and their teachers. The LEGO Learning System offers unlimited possibilities for playful, hands-on STEAM learning experiences that build confident creators and lifelong learners. Consisting of a range of interconnected solutions, the LEGO Learning System makes it easy to bring engaging, high-quality, standards-aligned lessons into all classrooms, across schools, and throughout districts. This easy-to-adopt system offers solutions that work with or without the need for technology. BrickQ Motion builds a foundational understanding of physical science concepts as a purely hands-on solution, while Spike Essential and Spike Prime offer a comprehensive technology-enhanced STEAM learning experience. Flexible scaffolding makes it easy for students and teachers to get started and move seamlessly from learning with one solution to the next. Students in lower grades will get excited about STEAM learning through playful investigation of simple STEAM concepts, while contributing to literacy, math, and social-emotional development. As they grow older, students will apply a deeper understanding of concepts and practices in science, engineering, computer science, and mathematics to develop creative solutions to complex problems, which are easily connected to real-world scenarios. Backed by research on learning through play and 40 years of experience, LEGO Education's learning system solutions complement each other and unlock deeper learning opportunities, helping to engage students in a learning journey that future-proofs their skills to become confident, lifelong learners.
There we go. That was a little insight into LEGO's learning system. And the yellow products, as I call them there, are products that utilize things like motors and sensors, but we also have some playful early years as well. I just want to stop my little PowerPoint presentation, so I will just come out of that. And the reason for that is that you've obviously seen a lot in terms of that presentation. Look, I have actually built some things myself. We've been doing a little project. This is a little safe that I built because I'm getting children to make little safes out of robots, and you have to put a combination in and you have to break the combination by using a little color sensor there, and typically on camera I failed to get in. But all of these things are buildable with the Lego kits, and you're going to see Wendy will be showcasing some of the things that you can build in terms of First Lego League. So these are little Lego robots that we can get to move around and grab things and pick things up. And at the heart of this is a coding system. So you build something and then you code it. I seem to have built a nice vehicle. Sarah seems to have built.
Well, I was looking at Spike Essential, which is what we use in primary schools. So I built, well, it's the start of what will be a fairground, and I've got my little characters and I can code my little motor so it spins round, and I even put little spinny sections on it. One of my characters is a wheelchair user and his name's Daniel. So I'm also thinking about how Daniel would access my little fairground ride, and it's got this cool little light here, and I could code that later tonight so it all flashes all different colours, and that's using the little hub which is at the base here. So that's Spike Essential. Really good fun, loads of sort of storytelling coming along with it, which is fabulous because it's got its 4 little mini figures, and they're part of each of the challenges that the children do.
So the different kits have things like motors to make things move and sensors, and you can put those things together and code them. I'll show you the little coding environment in a moment. Sarah mentioned the minifigures, and just to give you a little example, I was doing a project with Year 3 and we were building eco homes out of Lego, and they were using the Spike Essential kits, and they were building features in there like solar panels, and they had the little LED lights, and they had little sensors so when people arrived at the house different things could happen. And then I introduced the Year 3 to the Lego minifigure Daniel, who's in a wheelchair, and we talked about the fact that when we build, we should build for everyone. And I then spent the morning with everybody showing me how they'd made lifts out of the motors to get Daniel to the garden on the top floor, how they'd made a little ramp for Daniel to move around, how they'd made all the doors in the house bigger so Daniel could join them. And the great thing about children is that they're not wired up, they're freely creative. In the same workshop, we had a comment about the fact that you can control these models using your voice. And I did that teacher thing of saying to them, well, this is like Alexa, and the hands went up, and children, one after the other, told me that they had an Alexa at home. And I'll be honest, it was a boast, and I thought I'll stop there. And I went one step further and asked the question again, and one child put their hand up and said, we've got an Alexa at home, my dad's blind, and it's changed his life. And they then told a beautiful story about how it had changed their dad's life, and every child picked up on it and then built things into their models. And the great thing about Lego, it's a very creative resource. And yes, there are instructions to follow, and I'm actually just going to show you briefly the software that comes with Spike Essential. So I just put it up on the screen here, and hopefully you can see that there. So you've got Spike Essential, which is for primary, and you've got Spike Essential, which is for secondary. If I click on the Spike Essential, you'll see that I've got lots of, oh, sorry, my software's just downloaded, but you can see we've got motors and we've got lights and sensors. And if you've ever done a little bit of programming before, you can go in here and you can program with icon blocks. So we can make things happen. So I could make Sarah's model, I could make her motors go round, I could make lights come on and make them into beautiful colors, which would look absolutely fantastic. And obviously I could play sounds as well. And if you've seen that before, you might be familiar with Scratch Junior, because it's very much like a Scratch Junior interface. You might have noticed I had the option to code in word blocks, and so I could actually code in a very much a Scratch-like interface to bring my creations to life. And within that, there are lots of unit plans that you can follow. So if I want, one of my favorites is Animal Alarm, which uses a little color sensor. So Leo, one of the minifigures, can count the different creatures that come into camp based on their color. That's what he wants to do, Leo. So he builds a little tent with a sensor and a little creature there. And then he starts to follow his little build guide to put things together. And by the end, he's got his lovely Lego creation that he can then program, and this will take you through how to connect and then how to program, and that's what can then bring your model to life. So Sarah's put her little model on there, and you can see I'm now connected to it. I won't make Sarah's model swing around, but you can see that I could now start dragging on my little programming blocks, and actually it helps me in this one. It tells me the blocks that I need to use just to build up that confidence in coding. And there's lots of those lovely little activities. I love to build from instructions. I also love to build creatively and have free builds. There's lots of unit plans, both in terms of Spike Prime and Spike Essential, and you can access lesson plans and teacher support from Lego Education. So that's the coding behind the technology. And when children become excited by those sort of things, they obviously create fantastic things, and a great place to put those on show is the First Lego League Arena. And I know that we've got Wendy here, who's going to talk a little bit about First Lego League and how it gives the opportunities for young people to showcase those skills.
Help if I put my microphone on there. John, Sarah, that was fantastic. I apologise, and you should never start a presentation with an apology, but I'm a little bit croaky, but I'll do my best to get through. So apologies if I've got to take some sips of water. It's a whirlwind tour of you've sort of seen some great resources there to give you the background of the First Lego League. There's a lot of slides in here, but the aim of that is that you can take them away afterwards. You can look at them in slow time, and there's some links and things on in there. So Mav, you can keep me right that you can just see slides and hear sound. Let me put the sound on.
Yep, can see your slides.
Great, because all I can see now is you, Maha, so we'll run with that. Is that on presentation view, yeah?
No, it's not on presentation view.
How's that?
Yep, that's perfect.
Great. I just put this slide up just to let you know I'm an engineer, I'm not an educator, so please be gentle with me and the questions. I'll scoot through very quickly the 3 different divisions that there are for First Lego League, a little bit about what each involves. I see a lot of you from primary schools. I recognise a lot of the names, so and great to see you on here today, and a few you can probably keep me right. So, but plenty of time for questions at the end, so I'll scoot through, and the slides will be available afterwards to share. So I get asked quite a lot, why should you get involved in First Lego League? I get some people that, and it's clearly people who were never given Lego as a child, that say it's just Lego. But here are all the key things that for all 3 divisions that the young people learn. So it's those meta skills that I know that teachers are looking for, but also employers as we get on further, and we're helping to generate these skills as early as possible. It's all teamwork, huge amount of communication at all levels, but more formally with the challenge level. There's a bit of strategy involved, certainly at the higher levels, for the young people deciding how they're going to program the robot, which missions they might do for challenge. There's design. You see here a side activity, a photo there, where we just gave the young people at the Scottish final white bricks, and the things they came up with as a free build were absolutely incredible. Every year there is a new theme, obviously for the explore and the challenge levels. There is coding involved, which is really good, so we're kind of doing a bit of that by stealth. There's resilience being developed for when the young people, something fails and they have to try it again. At the challenge level, it's a friendly competition. We've had quite a lot of success, and I'm trying to develop a case study where it's been used at different levels of ASN. Obviously, every young person's needs are different, but we've got some people that are happy to share their experiences with that. And the key thing is that it's interactive and it's fun. So it's a programme that's run by an organisation called FIRST, which stands for Inspiration and Recognition in Science and Technology, and they've partnered with Lego Education to deliver this worldwide activity. And because of Lego Education's involvement, it adapts very quickly. So the feedback that we get is absolutely critical. And I've seen some stuff that's been fed back within season that's been incorporated by the next season. So IET deliver it for the UK. and ESP, we deliver it for Scotland. We've been doing it for about 5 years now. So we did a pilot in 2017. We ran our first tournaments in 2018. The initiative has 3 different divisions that I'll come on to in a little bit more detail. So we've got Discover for 4 to 6 year olds, Explore, where they get the first coding experience with the Spike Essential for 6 to 9 year olds, and then Challenge, which incorporates a competition element, which is for 9 to 16 year olds. And I'll come on to all of those later. So we've expanded in the time that we did it. We had a bit of a blip with COVID. Actually, we were really lucky that in February 2020, we had the Scottish final, our first ever Scottish final before COVID hit. But the Explore season was cancelled, but the IET needed to move their Lego sets because the theme changes every year and there's new Lego every year. And because of the network that ESP has with organisations like Digital Xtra and Education Scotland and the RAISE officers, we were able to get the Explore kits out to the education hubs that were still running. And that really generated an interest in Explore. And thanks to the funding predominantly that we've had from Digital Xtra, that's been seed funding, and we've had other funding that's followed on the back of that. Last season, the Cargo Connect season, which was about transportation and logistics, we funded sets for over 2,000 young people. So we try and get the sets out really at the summer term, although the official season is March to July for Explore, and that meant we could use the sets 3 times, and those sets are now regionally held so they can be used over and over again. So any funding that we get is critical. And again, Digital Xtra funded for 290 young people, predominantly in Renfrewshire and Aberdeenshire this year, but we'll use those sets 3 times and they will be continued to be used out of season and using the coding. And then say for Challenge, we've got 11 tournaments this year from Thurso down to the Central Belt, and Explore now operates pretty much in every region of Scotland, from Shetland all the way down to Dumfries and Galloway. I think I have a bit of work to do in Argyll and Bute if any of you are from there, but I think we're covering Scotland with that now. So we'll continue to do that outreach and support schools where we can. I mentioned that the theme changes every year. This year it's super powered, where young people learn about the capture, the transportation, the storage and the use of energy. And I'm just going to give you a short video which will give you an idea of the professionalism that there is behind that and the energy that there is as well. So ESP being the Energy Skills Partnership, we're really excited about the theme for this year, and we're really reaching out to our industry partners and colleges who are involved in the renewables sector and the skills sector to try and promote this and get those people in as reviewers and in working with schools as well. So I mentioned the 3 divisions. So the first one we have is Discover, which is for 4 to 6 year olds. It's aimed at teams of 4. Again, it comes with a mat and some themed Lego so that the young people, the kids, work as a team. And I say this year it's got a wind turbine, energy station and kitchen and the theme there. But the key thing with this is the 6 bricks activity. So if you take nothing else away from today but you love Lego, Google 6 bricks. If you Google IET 6 bricks, during lockdown they made a number of videos, and it's amazing what the young people can do, what activities you can run just with 2 sets of 6 Duplo bricks. And so the IET website's got some great videos on there, and each pupil is given 2 sets of 6 bricks to take home The idea every lesson starts with the 6 bricks as a warm-up activity, and then they take it home, and the idea is that they do it with their parents or they do it with their siblings. So we're getting that STEM and interactivity into the home. So yeah, really can't recommend that enough as activity. So that's the themed Lego. There's also the STEAM Park, which can be used year after year. That doesn't change, and it's Lego and it's got some great kit in there. So again, it becomes a great resource for the schools. The teachers are provided with a team meeting guide. All 3 levels are now Curriculum for Excellence aligned, and there's lesson plans in this team meeting guide for the teacher. If you're short of time, there's also little quick routes on the website that can help you skip a few bits and pieces, so that helps a lot. Every pupil's given an engineering notebook, which is a workbook. For this level, it's more about them drawing and recording what they do, but that's given out at all 3 levels and they can keep that. And then the IET website has supporting resources, there's tutorials on there and training videos, and again that's for all 3 levels. So if you Google IET First Lego League, that'll take you straight to their website and access to all those resources. Now I'll make sure I give Maha the link to share with you afterwards. So the Explore level, which has really been the one we've had most success with in Scotland, and it's really thanks to the support we've had from Digital Xtra, and a lot of the school names and things that I saw that came up there have been using this for a couple of years now. So the young people research the theme, they come up with a problem, they create a poster that they show to the reviewers. It's very much not a competition, hence we call them reviewers, not judges, and they build the Lego. So a couple of bits are planned builds where they have a plan to follow, and then the rest of it is free build. So this year, you know, the aim is that they'll power the wind turbine using the coding for the Spike Essential, but sometimes they just build something and power it, and we would very much encourage that they do that. Last year it was a sorting centre where they had to sort different coloured bricks, and they could use the colour sensors and things to do that. So, and then, or make noises as they fell into the drum. But say some of the kids just found something else and built that. So a real opportunity for their imagination. So it comes with all the curriculum grids, the training videos and the PowerPoints, and the Lego League team are there to support you. And the Spike Essential app is really good, and there's some good tutorials on there too. So registration is still open for schools that want to get involved in that. The official season is March to July, but we encourage you to get it early so you can use the sets over and over again. So traditionally it was for a team of 6, but we found that the class pack works far better for primary schools, and you can order a class pack of different sizes. So class pack for 30, it tends to be the one that gets used most, although our rural schools and our schools up in the islands have really liked the class pack for 18, so you can test and adjust. And then you can buy top-up packs, so once one set of pupils have done it, if another class wants to take that on or you want to use it another year, you can within season buy the class pack, a top-up pack for that season, so that you can use it again, and that gets you the extra workbooks and the medals and things for the festival. And say I can help at ESP to get you reviewers for the festivals that can come along, and it gives an opportunity for the kids to hear about careers in the STEM industry as well, particularly this season, because I know renewables in particular is something that has been delivered in a lot of classrooms. So Challenge, which is our most challenging event, and no pun intended, is for 9 to 16-year-olds. It seems like quite a wide age range, but we find that the 9-year-olds keep it simple, and the 16-year-olds are a bit more serious. But by having that breadth, it allows the teams to develop. And I've got a little video I'll show you at the end by one of our teams who've done it from primary to secondary, who made it all the way to Brazil this year. So the teams, it can be a team of 2 to 10. Again, the workbooks come with guided lesson plans, and it really is, it's far more on the teamwork side and the initiative and the planning. And to stop teams, historically, they just focused on the robot game where they build, I think it's about 14 missions out of Lego. They go on a special mat and they program the robot to do things at each station. But to make sure they concentrate on the presentations and things now, everything is equally scored. And we find the younger kids actually do really well at the presentations. My favourite part is the innovation project, where they choose any theme, any problem to do with the theme, and they talk about how they would solve it. And the primary school kids will dress up. The space year, they were doing flick flacks down the corridor to demonstrate weightlessness. They bribe the judges with cookies and things. And the energy in the room is just tremendous. And I've had judges rushing out of room wanting to patent some of the ideas that kids have had for the innovation project. So there's something in there for a real variety of kids. There's those who like the coding, there's loads who like building Lego, there's loads of stuff in there for the kids who like to do presentations and a bit more confidence. So the whole team really does get involved in this, and you can target the skills of every individual young person. So it's up to teams of 10. There are class packs that you can buy to do it as a classroom activity, but I would encourage you to then try and find a local tournament and come along to the tournament, because that's where they really develop that friendly competition. It's kept friendly by them being judged on their core values, which is their behaviour through the day. We expect the older teams to support the younger teams and help them out a little bit. And they get points for cheering on their team. They get more points if they cheer on another team. And that really creates a really nice environment on the day and keeps it a good activity for the 9-year-olds as much as it does for the 16-year-olds. So again, it comes with a team meeting guide for the team mentor. It can be delivered in the classroom. It can be delivered. We've had scout groups, cadet groups, Girls Brigade. I really like guides because it's a natural thing that brings in an all-girl group without excluding any boys. So any environment, we've had other organisations that have developed STEM clubs, local libraries and things. So it can be used, as can all the levels, can be used in any of those environments. Again, each young person gets their engineering notebook, and then for this level there's a robot game rule book, which is really key to understanding the missions, and that's where they develop their strategic thinking, because there are little points hidden within each mission, and if they look at it and understand it, there's a lot of easy points they can get without too much coding, just by reading the rule book. Kids are bright and they find ways very quickly to get around the rules, so we get updates on this fairly regularly to clarify anything where we've seen that they might either there's been grey areas or where they found a possible cheat, and then we try and manage that. But we love it when that gets done, so that gets updated quite regularly. This is the special map that I mentioned. Historically, only 2 young people could be at the table at a time, but as of this season, there are 2 home areas, which is the sort of quarter circles that you can see there. So that allows up to 4 young people to be at the table at a time. They can tag in and out, so more kids can engage, but I like the idea that more of them can be involved in the game. So we talked about the different awards that can be done. Again, to keep it as enjoyable as possible, a team can't go home with all the prizes. If they won one of the areas and they win the robot game, which is very public scoring, they can have 2 prizes. The rest of it, we try and make sure there's a fair share. And that means more teams go home happy. So again, it creates for that friendly competition. I talked about the Scottish final. We won't have a Scottish final this year. We did struggle with teams last year because the secondary schools really didn't have the time to re-engage post-COVID, and there was still a lot of sickness with teachers. So this season, the final, it'll be a GB final in Harrogate, and our teams will go down there. But I just want to show you the 3 boys that you see there from McLaren High School, which is a rural school in Callander in Stirlingshire. They qualified to go to Brazil, where out of 90 teams from 50 countries, they came 3rd in the robot design. And that was using a Spike, sorry, not a Spike, an EV3 robot and Python coding, and they still managed to compete against the more modern Spike Prime robots. So I'm just going to show this video. If you can give me thumbs up if you get the sound.
Hello, we're the STEM Troopers from McLaren High School in Stirlingshire. We formed as a robotics team 5 years ago, and since then we've had the opportunity to take part in a number of robotics competitions right across the UK and internationally.
The competition, which we have taken part in for the last 4 years, First Lego League, has 3 main parts. The biggest, flashiest part is the robot game, where you have to build and program a robot to complete missions on the mat.
But you also have to make a presentation on an innovative solution to a problem posed each year and prepare an explanation of your robot design choices for the judges. Underpinning all of this are the core values of discovery, innovation, impact, inclusion, teamwork and fun.
We've had our ups and downs, but whenever we make a mistake or something goes wrong, we always strive to try and improve for the next competition. This has led to us winning a number of awards at a regional, national and international level.
This year, the competition was delayed due to COVID, which actually worked out well for us. It just took us a long time to iron out the bugs in our new code. But when our Heat and Dundee finally took place, we were able to take home the Robot Performance Trophy and move on to the Scottish final.
At the Scottish final, we were really nervous since our robot design talk didn't go as well as we had hoped, and the judges had asked some really tough questions during our project presentation.
However, we were very happy with our robot table performance, despite not achieving scores as good as we were able to get in practice. In the end, we had done just enough to take home the overall win and qualified for the international final in Brazil.
However, with just 6 weeks left until the competition, there wasn't much time to get everything planned and secure funding.
But our teachers worked really hard and were able to sort out the vast majority of arrangements for the trip in just 2 short weeks before the summer holiday, and we were quickly able to secure the funding necessary to go ahead with the trip.
Finally, the day of the trip arrived, and after a quick layover in Amsterdam and a grueling 12-hour flight, we had arrived in Brazil. Beforehand, we had assumed that the competition would just be something we had to get through before getting onto the really fun part, sightseeing. However, we couldn't have been more wrong.
The next day, the competition started, and we immediately realised that this competition had so much more energy than any we'd ever been to before, and it only ramped up across the day, as even in the practice robot game rounds, the whole crowd was cheering on their teams, and everyone was constantly getting involved in dancing, chanting and celebrating.
Despite not being used to this kind of atmosphere, we really tried to throw ourselves into it and participate in everything we could.
The 3 days of the competition were such an amazing experience since we were able to meet so many interesting people from all over the world. And we were able to learn so much from the different ways that they had approached their robot design and their presentations.
As well as taking part in the competition, we had the opportunity to experience the culture and sights of Rio. We got to see the incredible views from Christ the Redeemer and from atop Sugarloaf Mountain.
We also got to see a lot of beautiful wildlife on the rainforest tour, while the tour guide shared many interesting stories about the rainforest.
Looking back over the last 5 years that we've been doing robotics, we can see what an incredible journey we've had, and we're so grateful for all the support we've been given. Over this time, we've seen massive improvements in our communication, teamwork, and resilience.
We are all extremely keen to go on and study STEM subjects at university, but in the meantime, we want to help inspire the next generation of roboteers. So we will all be mentoring other robotics teams at our school, and also visiting our local primary schools to deliver STEM workshops.
If you'd like to know more, then feel free to contact us on thestemtubers@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to respond.
E Roberta Sá saúdam Bete Carvalho, a grande madrinha do samba. Meu samba tem muito axé, quer ver, vem dizer no pé. Escute o som do tantã, tem samba até de manhã, pra curar o desamor e a tristeza afastar. Você que nunca sambou, se liga, tem que sambar. Meu samba é de arerê, quem samba não quer parar. Na hora do vamos ver, meu samba é ruim de aturar. Tem o dom de resolver, deixa tudo no lugar. Você que nunca sambou, se liga, tem que sambar.
And some of you may have spotted John there with this team when they were back, and they were just starting. We get asked a lot about his STEM activities. Do they work? Those 3 young men are going to university to study theoretical physics, mechanical engineering, and computing science. So I think that what they said is far better than anything I could say about this initiative. But I'll just try and stop sharing that. If there's any questions? Stunned silence. Don't know if that's a good thing or not. But I'll say
Thank you so
I
much,
can't.
Wendy.
Sorry, I can't recommend the
sorry.
IET website enough, and they have dedicated, for each level, they've got a dedicated team that can help and support you and answer any questions that you might have about the activity.
Oh, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or put your question in the chat, and I'm sure John, Sarah, and Wendy will be happy to answer them. Yeah, I spotted John and I was like, is that John? And probably that's the first time they were.
Mahart, what are you implying? That I've maybe aged over the 5 years? It's actually really funny because I always, when I work with young people, I always say to them, the idea is that you become better than me. And I remember seeing them and they very quickly became better than me. And that's a really exciting process. And I saw them last year at the final and it was lovely, the story they had to tell about the influence of First Lego League, because Trust me, if you'd met them 5 years ago, I'll be honest, you would never have thought they would turn into the people that they are today, but it gave them huge confidence, and confidence, as I pointed out in my PowerPoint there, it really is the key.
Yeah, that's true.
And by the way, doesn't Brazil look very playful?
Let's go.
I think we should all go to Brazil. It would do us all a world of good. Arrange that, Mahar. Book the flight.
I was at the Scottish final this year and it was buzzing, and I can't even imagine what would have been there in Brazil. Wendy, have you been to any of the international
No,
finals?
I don't get to go, unfortunately. The IET bag those spaces, but I'd love to. But that's our first team from Scotland to go to a World Championships, and to get a third place prize is absolutely incredible. And one of those young men has Asperger's and didn't want to make the transition from primary to secondary school. And McLaren use it as a transition activity. In fact, their young STEM leaders now go into the primary schools and deliver that. So again, that was really good. And he joined the team, and you wouldn't know which one he was of those three men. And he's there giving a presentation, you know, in Brazil, and to judges he's never met before. So it just shows you what can be achieved.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, Craig is
Craig's in the chat. Craig's in the chat saying there's not much difference between Dundee and Brazil, which leads me to believe that he's not been to either, but there you go.
Yeah, Craig, you need to get out more.
I think so. I'd always go to Dundee because they've got the Beano, but there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if there aren't any questions, I would first like to thank Sarah and John for coming along and delivering an amazing session. Unfortunately, I couldn't share my bit of Lego I built, but maybe another day we can have a chat about it. And thanks to Wendy for going through the first Lego League tournaments and giving us an insight on those. So thank you so much, and thanks to everyone for joining. We hope to see you, a lot of you, at the Digital Xtra Fund information session as well on the 23rd of November. I'll send an email with all the links which has been shared by Sarah and John and Wendy, maybe tomorrow, and with the recording as well. So thank you so much. Have a good evening, and we'll see you all soon again at some point.
Thank you, Mahar.
Thanks. And keep playing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.